Adventure Time is full of characters wrestling with their identity. Finn is searching for his father, Marceline is trying to reconcile her 1,000 years of trauma, but Jake kinda just exists. And what makes that even stranger is that Jake has the most unstable existence in the entire show. He's born from an alien boil on his dad's head, his species changes, his form changes, his entire origin story was a lie. He transforms into a five-eyed blue monster. And through all of it, not one identity crisis, not one breakdown. Not until one episode late in the series where Jake finally confronts what he's been running from his entire life. That episode is called Abstract, and it reveals something deeper about identity than any other character in Adventure Time ever understood. After the Elements miniseries, something is kind of wrong with Jake. His body has transformed into his true form, a tall, blue, five-eyed alien creature. Mama. And he's kinda stuck that way. Everyone can see that he's different. Finn tries to be supportive, but he can barely make eye contact. BMO is terrified. Even Lady Rainicorn tries to help by just using her color-changing powers to paint Jake yellow instead. But that doesn't work. The blue keeps bleeding through. And Jake? He is in complete denial.
Thanks for trying, but I'm fine, really.
But his body disagrees. The more Jake insists that nothing's changed, the worse it gets. Wings sprout from his back, spikes emerge, his form shifts involuntarily like it's rebelling against him. That night, Jake has a nightmare. He sees Warren Ampersand, the alien shapeshifter who is his biological father, but who he hasn't met quite yet. He sees Joshua, the man who raised him, and he sees his brother Jermaine painting something abstract and chaotic. When Jake wakes up, he's shaken, because Jermaine hates abstract art, always has. He's only painted realistic landscapes, structured, controlled, safe. But in the dream, Jermaine was painting chaos. Nothing else in the dream spiked him quite like that, of course. It was his brother not liking the particular type of art that Jake thought he did. Anyway, Jake tracks down his brother, and the nightmare actually turns out to be real. Jermaine's studio is full of abstract paintings, wild shapes, colors bleeding into each other, no structure, no realism, and Jake can't handle it.
Jermaine, what's wrong with you? Who's taking away your identity as a landscape painter?
To Jake, it looks like Jermaine has lost himself, gone crazy. Because seeing his brother, the most stable person he knows, embrace chaos feels like watching someone's identity dissolve, and it makes you feel like you yourself are experiencing chaos. But Jermaine hasn't lost himself, he's evolved, he's just changed. Jake stares at the paintings, and suddenly he sees it as well. Jermaine isn't in some sort of breakdown. What Jake is actually seeing is his own fear reflected back at him.
There's some stuff about me that I've been ignoring for a long time. I'm afraid of that stuff.
Jake looks at his blue, five-eyed reflection, and for the first time, he stops fighting it. He accepts the alien form. He confronts it, the chaos, the truth he's been running from.
As long as I know the shape of my soul, I'll be all right.
And the moment he says it, his body relaxes. The blue fades, the extra eyes disappear. He shifts back to his yellow dog form, not because it's more real, but because he finally understands that both forms are him. No matter what his shape, what his form, his figure, he'll always be himself. But here's what the episode doesn't tell you. What exactly has Jake been ignoring? What stuff has he been afraid of his whole life? What's his thing? Because this isn't the first time Jake's denied the truth about himself. This is just the first time he's admitted it. To find the truth, we have to go back. Way back. In The Witch's Garden, one of my favorite episodes by the way, Jake loses his powers, and when he needs to explain where his abilities came from, he creates this memory on the spot.
When I was just a pupster, I'm rolling around in a mud puddle. And I guess I became a magic dog?
Simple story. The only problem, it's completely made up. Pendleton Ward confirmed it years later that mud puddle story was never true. Jake just invented it out of the spot. Because without his power, Jake just loses his sense of identity entirely. He just can't seem to care. He can't even run on two legs. His entire identity is so tied to his abilities that when they're gone, he doesn't even know how to exist. That is his identity. So he makes up a story that made sense at the time. A story where he's just a regular dog who got lucky. But the truth is horrifying. In Joshua and Margaret investigations, we finally see how Jake was really born. Jake's dad, Joshua, was investigating a shape-shifting creature in the woods when it bites him on the head. The bite creates a pustule, a huge pulsating lump on Joshua's skull, and from that lump, baby Jake emerged at the same moment that his brother Jermaine was born. Jake was hatched like something out of Alien. Joshua wasn't Jake's father in the traditional sense. He was a biological host of sorts. Margaret and Joshua decided to raise Jake anyway as their son because, after all, he did give birth to him and he looks exactly like him and he's there, so... They made a pact, though. Never tell him the truth.
Let's never tell him how it happened.
Agree.
So Jake spent his entire life believing that he was just a magical dog, when he was actually something else entirely. Half dog, half shape-shifting alternate dimension alien creature. A biological accident of sorts, just food for another being to sap his energy from. But here's the strange part. At the end of the episode, Jake says this.
And so they never told me.
Never told you what?
I don't know. They never told me.
He retold the story about his birth, which ended with Joshua and Margaret saying,
Yes, we've got one boy that I gave birth to, and one boy you gave birth to. Let's never tell him how it happened.
but still, he knows. Deep down, Jake has always known he's not what he says he is. He just chose not to think about it. He didn't really worry about anything. And it's not just him avoiding it either. Even Princess Bubblegum, one of Jake's closest friends, calls his powers a mutation, not magical. So that's who Jake really is. A shape-shifting alien magic dog hybrid who invented a fake origin story, avoided the truth for years, and built his entire personality around being a chill magic dog to avoid confronting what he actually is. And that worked. For a while. Until he met his real 4D daddy. This confrontation happens in the first investigation. Finn and Jake are called to investigate Joshua and Margaret's old office building. Strange things are happening. Time is glitching, objects are appearing and disappearing, and there's a broken clock bear causing temporal distortions throughout the building. There's stuff from the past suddenly coming to life. In between that stuff is Jake's birth, which he gets to witness. He sees himself emerge from Joshua's head, watches the whole truth play out in front of him. How he's not a womb baby, he's a skull baby. And he still denies it.
That's so not how I was birthed. I'm no melon baby. I'm a majestic womb baby.
Even seeing it with his own eyes, Jake can't accept it. He'd rather believe he hallucinated than admit his origin is what it is. But that's just the beginning. Because a few minutes later, that blue shape-shifting creature, Jake's alien dad, comes back. He's old and wrinkly now, dying, and he's been watching Jake his entire life. His name is Warren Ampersand, and the moment he touches the yellow Jake we know, poof, he turns blue. Warren then takes Jake to his home planet, and at first it seems kind of touching. Warren built a museum dedicated to Jake. He says he's so proud he's been following Jake's adventures, and now he needs Jake to fulfill a prophecy and save his civilization. Jake is kinda moved. Finally, a parent who chose him and who returned and is using his heroism and his strength to do great things. Someone who watched over him his entire life and is so proud of him and who thinks he's special. Except it's all a lie. Warren gives Jake a belt. A galaxy savior belt. And tells him to stretch through a series of tubes to unlock a weapon. Jake does it. He's always been susceptible to peer pressure and trying to do things for other people, so he wanted to hear the praise and the good words and the admiration of his good old pa. So he stretches more than he's ever stretched before, and he feels drained, weak, older. The next day, he has to stretch again through this weapon to defeat a big monster. When he fails, that's when Warren reveals the truth. There is no prophecy, there is no civilization, no monster. The entire planet is just Warren shapeshifted. The people, the buildings, the museum, all Warren. The belt? It was draining Jake's life force every time he stretched, transferring Jake's power and youth to Warren, making Warren younger while Jake withered. And Warren admits that he's done this to hundreds of children, to hundreds of his own offspring. Jake isn't special, he's just the next battery that his dad invested in to make himself young again in the future. Jake was created for one purpose: to be harvested. Now imagine learning that. Your amazing upper dimensional alien dad just left you behind until you were older, watching you, waiting for you, just to be enough so that you could be drained of your energy, like some sort of livestock. Most people, most characters would be destroyed by this. This is Martin Merton's level of parental betrayal times 10, and we saw how that broke Finn. But Jake? He just tricks Warren, switches the belts, and throws him into a black hole like a boss. No breakdown, no emotional fallout, no "why would you do this to me" moment. Just problem solved, moving on. And this isn't the first time Jake's brushed up against cosmic forces and just handled it. In The New Frontier, Jake dreams of his own death, dying in space, alone, at peace. And he wakes up calm, ready for it whenever it comes. That's his destiny after all. In Sons of Mars, Jake literally dies and gets resurrected by Martian gods. In Is That You?, Jake's body bends space-time itself to help resurrect Prismo, a wish-making cosmic entity, by falling asleep. His stretchy powers and his weird alien power and identity affect more than matter, they affect reality itself. Jake keeps encountering gods, death, cosmic forces, and even though he has his powers, he is vulnerable, but he's the only one who never really seems afraid. Why? For that answer, you need to understand what Warren Ampersand actually is. Warren is a being that can stretch himself across an entire planet, create a civilization, thousands of people, buildings, an entire culture and civilization across an entire globe, all from his own body. He can be thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even millions of individuals simultaneously all across a giant body of land. So Warren's identity, his being, his gender, his identity, his self, is not really tied to a single form. He has no structured individual identity. He is the formlessness, the power, the stretchiness, and the ego itself. And Jake inherited that biology, that experience. He even had that thing in his stomach when he went deep inside himself, and he created an entire world inside his own body. So with his stretching powers to the max, perhaps this is something that Jake would be capable of. So it's no wonder that at some point during the series, Jake doesn't really know who he is. Most beings experience, I am this body, I am who I am, and that's just it. Their identity lives in their meat, and that's just natural. But Jake has experienced being scattered across space, being inanimate objects, being multiple shapes at once, being in alternate dimensions and hanging out with Prismo, this god creature being. So that's kind of why nothing shakes him. His origin changing? Well, his origin doesn't define him. Warren's betrayal? Warren can't take his actual self, he's determined who he is, he knows himself. His body transforming? It's just another shape. He is who he is, and the meat is just the meat. Death? Just another change. We'll even go past the 50th dead world and join our friend again, just to experience life with our best pal, because, things are what they are, you know? And all of that leads to Abstract, where Jake finally accepts his blue alien form. Well, he accepts his blue alien form before he dies, but you know. So in this case, he doesn't stay blue, he kind of just shifts back to yellow because that's his comfort stage. But he can be blue if he wants, because he is what his body is at any time. He is who he wants to be, and his body allows him to shift that way. Not because he wants to be a certain way or because yellow feels more real to him than blue. It's any other form that he could take among many. He just realizes that he can finally choose, and that's what he's comfortable with. His soul, whatever the soul is, whatever his being is, whatever his personhood is, isn't his body, it isn't his origin. His soul isn't even his memories, it is who he is, the one who looks through the consciousness that looks through the dog. The shape of his soul is formlessness itself, merged into the meat, merged into the flesh with magic and alien DNA. It's the ability to change and to become entire civilizations of other beings who have their own autonomy without losing himself. He is the being of formlessness, the creature of upper dimensional power who can create other minds within their own mind to think for themselves, and yet they are themselves amazing creatures. This is what makes Jake different from everyone else. Finn clings to meaning and suffers for it. Ice King loses his identity and searches for it so hard and loses himself in his madness and can't find himself. Marceline fights her past for 1,000 years, and Warren becomes parasitic, trying to control his form and make himself eternally youthful. But Jake didn't try to live forever. Jake didn't try to do anything serious. Jake just let life happen and let go. One of my other favorite episodes, Jake the Brick, Jake spends an entire episode just as an inanimate object, just observing as part of a wall about to crumble. He's just finding beauty in something normal, in nothing pretty much, content to not be a real person for a while and just experience a random phenomenon that happens all the time in crumbling, decaying infrastructure. In Come Along With Me, Jake casually shapeshifts between his yellow dog form and his blue alien form. Both are him, neither is more true than the other, he just wants to be one at one time and another at another. In Together Again, when Jake actually dies and enters the afterlife, he reaches the 50th dead world, the highest realm, essentially enlightenment itself, nirvana. He has reached the ultimate of the ultimate locations, the entire metaverse, nirvana, the 50th heaven. He got there because he had no attachments, no clinging to any particular state of being, no fear of change, completely formless and accepting. Jake achieved what Buddhist monks basically spend lifetimes trying to achieve. Warren gave him the biology to experience formlessness, but Jake turned that curse into wisdom, and that's why he reached the 50th dead world, the highest realm, essentially enlightenment itself, nirvana. So, here's the answer to Jake's paradox. How does a being with no fixed form, no fixed entity self have such a fixed sense of identity and personhood and self? He had a family, he had feelings, he had emotion, he had love, he had a best friend. Well, it's because he figured out that the self isn't the form, it's not his body. He is who he is. While everyone else in Adventure Time fights to maintain their identity against change, Jake just knew that his core self was never the thing that was changing to begin with. The physical form was only part of the journey. And from beginning to end, from life to the 50th dead world, Jake was always Jake. And while he's super duper cute in his dog form, that's only part of who he is. Now, if you want to understand Jake even better, check out our video on Jake's philosophy. It'll really give you insights into why he is the way he is. And if you want to learn more about why you are the way you are, make sure to subscribe to our channel, watch some of our videos, and learn some of the lessons of cartoons, especially Adventure Time like this. So join us, check out the next video when it comes out, and I'll see you there. Peace.